And hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. So, tonight I'm going to be reviewing Daredevil seasons 1 through 3. I decided to go ahead and just do one big, huge show on all the seasons instead of doing individual seasons. I just think it was easier that way. So, with further ado, let's go on ahead. Let's go on ahead. Let's talk about Daredevil seasons 1 through 3. If you're in the live chat, go on ahead, comment in the live chat and everything. I'd like to actually know what some of your favorite scenes are, what you're hoping to get out of Born Again whenever it gets released next month. So let's go ahead. Let's review Daredevil seasons 1 through 3. And hey guys, welcome to the show. So, like I mentioned, I'm going to be reviewing Daredevil seasons 1 through 3. Like I said, I wanted to do this a little bit differently. I know that some people might be doing like individual episodes and stuff like that, but my wife and I winded up binging just all 3 of the seasons, stuff like that. It was my second time going through it. I've been a huge fan of the Daredevil series whenever it was first released on Netflix. And so I was like, okay, Daredevil Born Again is going to be coming in next month. So let me go ahead and binge it. Let me also introduce my wife to this show. And I have to say, I really enjoyed rewatching it again. It made me love what I loved about Daredevil to begin with, especially with the season 1, where you have the slow pacing that actually builds on top of something that I thought was really well that worked within season 1. And it's also giving you the tone of what the show is going to be about. I like the choreography, the fight choreography within the show itself. Still, I know that Disney ended up making the announcement not too long ago, saying, "Hey, look, we're going to probably take away some of those elements of the show from the Netflix series, but we are still going to keep it gritty. But we're going to get rid of some of the talkie, some of the dialogue." I'm like, come on, some of the best dialogue within the show was one of the best things about it, in my opinion, because of the fact that you don't have to have action sequences for the sake of having action sequences. Part of the reason why it was successful in the first place was with the dialogue itself. It ended up getting to those fight sequences soon, but they have to show us the characteristics of who those characters are and giving us a whole entire world of what the show is. And I thought it worked very well within the tone itself. And then another thing I liked was the fact that sometimes you might actually forget that Matt is even blind as well. My wife's like, "Is he really blind?" I'm like, "Yeah, he's really blind because of the things he does." So, like when he's climbing up at the buildings and also doing flips off the buildings and things like that, sometimes you forget that Matt is blind because of the things that he's doing. But he is also one of those people that can hear because of the fact that he has to use his hearing and stuff like that to be able to hear different things around him. I thought the whole entire mixing of the sound was really good when it came down to that. Another thing is, though, too, you can't go wrong with Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin. You cannot go wrong with Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock, Daredevil. Another thing, too, is you also have Karen Page, the actor Deborah Ann Woll, who I ended up falling in love with on True Blood. You also have Eldon Henson as Foggy in this. I thought that he definitely delivered a dynamic between Matt and him. I thought everything within the show itself still works. It still clicks. The chemistry that I felt when I first watched the very first season of Daredevil is what everything I ever wanted from it. And, I just feel like this show still hits the way it needs to hit. And I just think that this is actually a great thing because within the first season of Daredevil, it's just the tone for everything that follows. You have Charlie Cox, who immediately owns the role of Matt Murdock, a blind lawyer by day and rimless vigilante by night. His battle against Wilson Fisk is initially written showcasing a psychological warfare between two men trying to escape Hill's Kitchen in their own way. The season standout moment. The new iconic hallway fight scene is a single shot masterpiece that cemented Daredevil as a force to be reckoned with. That hallway fight scene is one of the best fight scenes. You actually got to see everything within the hallway scenes itself. I really loved how they were able to do that because normally when we see fight scenes, right, either it's shaky cam or it's don't get to see enough of the action sequences in itself to make us care about certain scenes. But within that hallway scene itself, it makes me. I'm going to say this. It actually amplifies the experience of actually watching this and watching Daredevil take down these bad guys. And of course, I also like the fact too that he's on in the red suit right off the bat, because of the fact that we have to get to that point of him having that suit. And I like the fact that, you have Matt, and, it's that slow pace of getting there. And then you also have Night Nurse in this as well. I thought that the way that they actually introduced her character was really good, because what winds up happening is some stuff winds up happening with Matt, to the point where he winds up getting hurt, and then he winds up falling into a dumpster, and then she winds up trying to save him, and then he winds up making like up an alias name so that way she doesn't know who he is. And then it starts this whole entire chemistry dynamic of, are they going to get together, or are they not going to get together, kind of thing. But within the show itself and the writing, I thought it was really good. And then you get introduced to Wilson Fisk, and then you also, and Wesley too. And the thing with Wesley and also that those two characters, I remember that my favorite scene is when we actually see Fisk, and we're actually getting to see who this guy is, and seeing how powerful this guy is as far as having money, as far as someone that can actually have anything because he has money and the power he has within his own self. It's very scary to see this guy going into this kind of level, especially when he goes over to this art gallery and he sees Vanessa. And I had to do that. But he sees Vanessa. He falls in love with her over this one painting. And, and then I like how he ends up making that quote of, a woman that can be bought is not worth having. And I love that quote. That quote still sticks to me to this day. Hey, Jojo, how are you doing? It's good to have you inside the live chat. I do appreciate it. But yeah, I just thought that quote of, a woman that can be bought is not worth having. That quote still sticks with me, even though it's a villain that's saying it. It actually makes sense and stuff, because he can have anyone he wants and have all this money. But at the end of the day, if he has to buy this person off to be in love with this person, then that person's not worth having. I thought that was a really neat moment of showing a little bit of humanization within the goon himself, which we never got with any kind of movies or anything like that either. So it humanizes the goons in a sense, right? Because of the fact that we never seen this kind of elevation within a TV show with Daredevil or any kind of superhero movie, and it sets the tone for this show. And then another key moment for me is, when you have the whole entire thing of Matt's dad, we get introduced into Matt's world of where his dad's a boxer, and he winds up fixing fights and stuff like that, so that way he can actually put food on the table for Matt. And then even Matt's wondering at an early age of like, Dad, what's up? What's going on with this, man? I thought you're supposed to be winning fights. Because, well, Matt, sometimes you have to lose fights to get some. And so it's actually also showing it's okay to lose. Sometimes you wind up winning even though you lose. But that's my way of actually looking at that. But then you also get this other thing too in the show that I really makes me care about, is the Foggy and chemistry between Matt, like I mentioned earlier, of them not having any money for the firm, and they're trying to figure out what they're going to do. And then you get introduced into Karen Page, who winds up waking up because someone knocked her out. And she's actually needing a lawyer because of the fact that just because of the fact that she woke up and there's a dead body next to her, and then everybody's actually convinced that she killed this person, even though she didn't kill this person. So then now she goes over to the jail, and she doesn't have a lawyer. Then they get a call. I think if I'm remembering right, they wind up, Matt and Foggy both get a call, and they wind up becoming her lawyers. And I love this opening dialogue of like, is this your client? Yes, this is my client. And how long have you guys been doing this? And I like how he answers Karen. He goes, about 23 hours. So the back and forth between Foggy and Matt is awesome. Beat for beat, you can definitely tell these guys are friends. These guys were also college roommates as well, going and studying law. You can feel that closeness within those two, with the friendships that they have in the very first season. Karen gets introduced, like I said, and she's also struggling with who she wants to become and stuff too. She winds up working for them, and then there's also that one part where where anonymously someone wants them as their lawyer, but even though then they're shady, this person's shady. Foggy's like, look, sometimes you have to take this take a shady deal, even though because we don't have any money coming in, so we have to pay the rent somehow because we have this office. So therefore, they wind up taking that shady deal, and it happens to be someone that's connected in with Fisk. And then you're wondering how that situation is going to get ironed out. But I also want to talk about the whole entire newspaper thing, though, too, as well, because I definitely love the Ben Urich is actually one of my favorite characters within the Daredevil series. And the thing I love about Ben is the fact that he believes in the newspaper. He believes that spilling the truth, not doing fluff pieces, not just doing things that other people want him to do. He's a journalist. This is what he signed up for. He's not here to do white fences and picket, and roses on everybody's lawn or anything. He's here to actually write a piece. And I like how Ben is still passionate about his job, but everybody keeps on giving him like fluff pieces to do, trying to cover up everything that Fisk is doing. And at first I thought it was actually the supervisor that's over him that was actually paid off by Fisk. And I forgot all about the fact it wasn't even him. And I'm glad that it wasn't his boss, because I actually like his boss in a sense. But it made me think that maybe it was him. And I like the fact that it wasn't like a carbon copy, a paint by the numbers kind of thing of it's actually the supervisor who's getting paid by Fisk, and it actually throws you for a loop. I like that aspect of it because we have seen this over and over again where the boss is actually being paid by an underboss, and then he's trying to keep everything on the DL. But with this, you have someone else that's in the employee of that office that's actually taking hush money, so that way so nothing gets connected in with Fisk or anything like that, to see all the crimes that Fisk is doing. So I like how you have the whole entire narrative of the fact that Fisk is controlling everything. And then you also have the guy who makes the suit for Fisk, and then that's also what gets Matt interested in finding out if he can actually make a suit himself. You also have that other fight scene, I believe, in this season as well, where you have where Matt winds up fighting that ninja, and he winds up getting hurt really badly. But here's the thing. I like the fact that he can get hurt because of the fact, how many times have we seen this, right? Where it's the next episode and the hero is fine. He's off fighting crime again. In this series, he has to take a while to heal. He has to be able to get himself back up to that point again, to where he has to fight crime again. And I'm glad that they did this to show the humanization of who Matt is, and that he's just a regular human person that's trying to be a vigilante to actually protect the innocent. And that's something that I loved about it, was the fact that it's just a normal guy. And sometimes you forget that he's even a normal guy and stuff like that because of things that he's doing. But it actually adds more to the character by making him even more human, because he has to have time to rest, to be able to rest up from everything he has done. And then even when he's in his own apartment and everybody's coming in to see him and stuff like that, you can definitely tell that nobody knows that he's Daredevil or anything like that either. Nobody knows that he's actually having a secret life. There's also another thing that gets where I thought that Karen and him would actually hook up in season 2, and they don't. And I really wish that they would have hooked up in season 2. But I just thought overall with season 1 of Daredevil was probably one of the best comic book adaptations on a TV screen that I've ever seen. It feels like a movie. It feels very cinematic. Even my wife said, "Man, this feels like a movie." It does feel like a movie. It feels like a 13-hour movie because there's 13 episodes, and it don't even feel like that it's rushed. It doesn't feel like that everything it feels like everything just fits into one big huge puzzle piece. And it's just beautifully well written. I really love the first season of Daredevil. Hands down, one of my favorite introductions to Matt into this world that we're getting into with this, because of the fact that it's a slow pacing show, but it leads up to something. And that's one of the things I love about some movies, is especially the movie Heat, for example, where you have a slow pace, but I'm okay with slow pace as long as it leads up to something. And this actually leads up to the climax of the whole entire series of Fisk getting arrested and things like that, and his rise to power. And and that's something that I really enjoyed. And then what even sets more of the tone of this is Fisk winds up smashing this other henchman for screwing up. He smashes his head up against a sliding door van door. And I remember seeing that and remembering how gruesome that was. I'm like, okay, this is not your average Joe comic book show. This show is violent. This show is everything that you wanted it to be. It's dark, it's gritty, it's everything that you wanted to be for a comic book adaptation of Daredevil. Like I said, with Fisk smashing the dude's head into the sliding door, that still is gruesome even now after rewatching season 1 and going through this. And I'm like, yeah, this is something that I wasn't expecting Disney Plus to actually do, but I'm appreciating the fact that they're doing it. And now we're getting Daredevil Born Again, and it's going to be the same gritty way. And they said that they were, like I said before, they said that they were going to do away with some of the talkiness of this show, but I feel like you actually need that dialogue within the characters itself, so that way you can get lost within the characters, within the dialogue. But even when I know I'm jumping around and everything, but the other thing I liked is when you have Karen, you have Foggy, you have Matt all in that bar, and they're talking and joking around and just being themselves. I really love those key moments as well. So that's part of season 1 that I wanted to talk about. So season 2, and this is something that I want to bring up. Okay, as much as I love the fact that the Punisher was in it and stuff, I feel like he took a back seat, and it became the Elektra show. And I thought that it would be better if they went on ahead and put her in season 3 versus season 2, because I think you had enough with John Bernthal playing Frank that you don't need to actually introduce us to Elektra. You can actually do the complexities of Matt and what he's dealing with in his own head, in his past and stuff, to where he wants to isolate himself from his friends, to the point where you don't need to have another antagonist, because you already have Fisk in this, so you don't need a distraction. You can have the Yakuza in this and then have Elektra in this in season 3. But I just feel like it became the Matt and Elektra show. It no longer was like about Frank and proving his innocence or anything like that. And I love the fact that we actually have a little bit of law and order within Daredevil, showing what he can do in the courtroom. But I wanted more of that. I wanted, and besides Foggy and Karen doing what they were doing inside the courtroom and stuff like that, with John Bernthal as the Punisher as Frank, I wanted a lot more from that. And it just seemed like that, it kind of took a back seat. And then, but it amps up the ante with 2 major additions with John Bernthal, and also a lot of Young's Elektra. Bernthal's performance is a highlight, with the monologue in the graveyard standing out as one of the best scenes in the entire series. And also, too, his dynamic with Daredevil, especially that rooftop scene, guys. Come on. He's like, well, you're just one bad day from being me. And then, and then the date on justice and injustice and visions and gripping, the introduction of the hand brings more mystical elements into the play, but the story loses some of its grounded appeal in the second half. Still, the action remains top tier, partially with the brutal stairwell fight, but not only the stairwell fight, guys, but if you remember, whenever that whole entire scene gets played out, where Fisk, once Frank is in the prison, Fisk calls upon him to make a deal because he actually because of the fact that he's like, look, I know someone that killed your wife, killed your family. I can give you that guy if you do something for me. But Fisk is trying to take out people in the prison, so that way, number one, he can be the big dog on campus. Not only be the big dog on campus, but also so that way when he gets out, and is also setting up for season 3. And as soon as you realize what he's doing, he's trying to take control of every single mob boss and stuff, and get rid of them so he can be the Kingpin that we know in the comics. And it's a genius move on Fisk's part. But I like how at first, like, Frank is like, look, I'm not going to be the one who gets paid for this. I'm not doing it. And then that's whenever, Fisk winds up breaking him into doing it. And he winds up whacking the guy. And next thing you know, that whole entire that scene of him in the prison, him getting bloody, him shacking somebody, stuff like that, and then Fisk beating the hell out of him. Come on. That was some gruesome stuff that I've seen in a very, very long time in a TV series, and I wanted more of that. And then you also have this other thing too that happens in the show, is where Foggy makes that big monologue in the courtroom and stuff like that, trying to find justice for Frank. And then Frank goes, "Yeah, I did it. I'll do it again." And and he winds up just putting himself in contempt of court. He winds up going into the jail system. It was everything that you wanted within a Law and Order type of show, mixed in with this kind of thing. And then also too, Elektra gets introduced, and this is also during the time when Karen and Matt might be hooking up or not hooking up, but you're cheering for the fact that, yes, I want Matt to be happy. I want him to be with somebody. And then Elektra comes in, and then it felt like it was actually going somewhere. It actually felt, before Elektra came in, I feel like the show was speeding up and gearing up. And then she came in and kind of slowed things down. And I'm like, come on, I wanted more from it than what I got from this. Because, like I said, you have Frank freaking Castle, the Punisher, in a TV series, and kind of takes a back seat and allows Elektra to kind of takes the reins, while Foggy and Karen to go on ahead and do this. I really didn't. That's the only aspect I didn't like within the show itself, is the whole electric thing. Fight sequence is really good. Story was really good. Then let's see here. Then you also have this other thing that too, where Frank is being tortured as well, because he's also shooting up all the other mobsters and stuff like that he thinks that killed his family. That's also another thing that I thought that was really gruesome, was when they take a drill and then they started drilling into Frank's foot. They wind up hitting him with some more stuff. That torture scene was just so horrific and stuff. And it was, if you ever read like a Daredevil comic or a Punisher comic, this is actually something that you would want from a TV series. It gives you everything that you want and plus more. But yeah, like I said, I just didn't like the other stuff. But even if they wind up doing the Yakuza and stuff like that, you could still have Daredevil investigating Yakuza. You could still have all that stuff because it's connected in with Fisk as well. So you can do stuff like that. And I just thought season 2 was definitely good. It wasn't great, but come on, you even have Clancy Brown as the general, the army general that actually commanded Frank as well. And I thought Clancy Brown did a good job in this series. Everything in the series clicked, all except the other stuff I just mentioned. But yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about for season 2 with stuff, because of the fact that I feel like you can have the Yakuza, you can have the ninja stuff, which I really liked. The stuff where the Yakuza is actually going up on the building and attacking everyone. That was actually pretty cool. The hospital scene was really good with the fight choreography with it. That was really good. But it has, I'll be honest with you, season 3 is probably one of the best seasons aside from 1. And it's just for the simple fact that, it has this kind of born again kind of storytelling with it. It brings Matt to his lowest point, stripping him of everything and forcing him to rebuild himself. You have Vincent D'Onoforio's return as Fisk, but more terrifying and calculated than ever. Meanwhile, Wilson Riddle's Benjamin Poindexter, Bullseye, isn't it? And that's another thing. I feel like Bullseye was someone to actually be reckoned with. Also, too, he manipulates the FBI into doing what he wants them to do. He's bribing the FBI. He's also has like a penthouse suite. He's on house arrest in this hotel suite, but he's also being able to get out because he has a secret passageway where his shoes are, and it slides out. Then you have the security cameras and stuff, and it feels kind of like, if you think about it, with Batman, where he actually has someone to watching the security cameras and stuff like that in his Batcave and stuff. But it's like the Oracle, but he has someone that just watches the cameras and he's surveying the whole entire city. This is something that was really dangerous because he not only, now that he has eyes on everyone that Matt cares about. His eyes on Karen, Foggy, everyone. And he's even more dangerous than before. He took out every single mobster that was against him. And now he's actually the Kingpin. He tries to marry Vanessa, and then he winds up getting arrested again. And then you're not sure if Matt's going to redeem himself later on in the series. He's having some self-doubt, some issues, especially the stuff with the Defenders. Now, here's the thing. Some people, the way I did this was I didn't introduce my wife to the Defenders or Jessica Jones or anything like that. So we went straight into season 3, and I forgot about the building collapsing in the Defenders, but I still remembered a little bit of stuff. So I just told her, hey, look, this is what happened in the Defenders. Elektra dies, Stick dies, and then it starts off with him waking up in the Catholic Church, and that's where we're at. So that's how I introduced her to that, so that way we can go straight in, because I didn't really care for the Defenders TV series or anything like that. I love the Punisher TV series, Jessica Jones by herself. The solo shows worked, and I didn't like Iron Fist enough to actually try to introduce my wife to that. I like Luke Cage, but still, I just didn't care about the Defenders. But you can still enjoy season 3 without having to watch the Defenders. It may just add a little bit extra flavor to it if you did watch the Defenders, but still, you get a lot of meat and potatoes out of this meal that you get for this. You also have the other thing that winds up happening is you have an FBI agent who's a good FBI agent. It's just that his credit's not good. He's desperate. His wife and him are struggling and fighting. So Fisk uses that and manipulates him to the point where now he actually works for him. Then also too, the captain of the FBI, the female boss winds up working for Fisk and blackmails this guy and tells him, hey, from now on, now that he's off of house arrest, now we're working for Fisk. So now the FBI is in on it now and stuff. And it's just sad to see this guy who was once good and now is broken because of how desperate he was. Not only desperate, but also to prove himself to the FBI, to be able to show them, hey, look, I can take down these criminals, and also use Fisk to show you what we can do. But at the end of the day, he manipulated him. And then Poindexter also gets manipulated as well. At first, he doesn't care for Fisk at all. Fisk then finds a weakness within him. He winds up doing some research on him, finding out that he actually was this troubled kid. He winded up killing his baseball coach with the baseball. He could ricochet bullets and stuff like that, especially whenever he saved Fisk's life as well, whenever they were trying to transport him off the street into the penthouse. And he winds up manipulating him. He also kills the girl that Poindexter was in love with as well and stalks her. And also, too, Poindexter's not no innocent person either. He will get under your skin as well whenever you see the stuff that he's doing, because he was actually one of those guys that was part of the 911 calls and trying to help people. And he was also a sociopath, I believe. if I'm not mistaken. But he also saw a psychiatrist because of things he did, and he was also pissed off because of the fact that the psychiatrist died whenever was dying of cancer, I believe. And she goes, "Who are you mad at?" He goes, "I'm mad at you because you're leaving me, and I don't know what to do." So he blames her for dying. She goes, "Sometimes death can be beautiful," and so she winds up dying of cancer. So Fisk winds up manipulating him even more, to the point now where he dresses up like Daredevil, and he's framing Daredevil for stuff he didn't even do, and the stuff that he does with the cane throwing, and the way that he was able to ricochet bullets, and the way that he was able to take pieces of glass and start throwing the glass and stuff like that at people. It was something horrifying. And he killed almost every single person in that newspaper place as well, where Ben worked at. And also, too, Ben dies in the first season of Daredevil season 1 because Fisk winds up strangling him. And that scene was brutal, though, too. And season 1, where Fisk is actually behind him as Ben is trying to type up the article about Fisk. And then Fisk winds up killing him because of the fact him and Karen go to the nursing home where you find out that Fisk's mom is still alive, and also too, you also find out that Fisk also killed his own father at age 12, I believe, and he was also running for mayor. And so basically, with him running for mayor, with Fisk running for mayor or whatever, and trying to do all this is like him trying to run in his dad's shoes in a sense. But but back to Bullseye and everything. I thought he was menacing. I thought he was horrifying. I thought he was someone that you didn't want to mess with. Then you also have the prison fight scene, a near 12-minute single take, is one of the most impressive action sequences in television history. This season's storytelling, character development, and emotional weight make for a perfect conclusion to the series. And like I said, it has this Born Again kind of feel to it for that Netflix series. And I thought it was a perfect way to wrap it up. I just wanted to see more from Netflix because I thought at that time, if you remember, guys, after seeing the first season of Daredevil, I was like, Netflix should go on and make this. Netflix should make that. Netflix should make this. Now, basically, Netflix is like the $5 bin at Walmart. You never know. Some stuff is good. Some stuff is not good. Hey, it's like diving into a trash compactor. You never know what you're going to find at Netflix. But now, that ship has sailed, and now we actually have it on Disney Plus, and I'm even more excited of the fact that we have these characters back. Not only do we have these characters back, but we also have these actors that we loved playing these characters. Roberto, writer of Transformers and Star Trek, just passed away at Oh man, I didn't know about that. Roberto Rossie, writer of Transformers and Star Trek, just passed away. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't even know that. Thank you for telling me, Roberto. But I just thought that, this series is definitely something that should be on everyone's radar. Like I said, Daredevil's 3-season run is nothing short of a phenomenal. It balances character depth, thrilling action, and thought-provoking themes, and justice, morality, and redemption. Charlie Cox, man, delivers a career-defining performance, and Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin remains one of the best villains in the MCU, while season 2 has a few pacing issues, like I said, with Elektra, that storyline and stuff. The overall quality of the series is undeniable. And then I'm going to have to say this. If I'm going to have to rank how I like this series, I would have to go with season 3, season 1, and then go with season 2. Even though I love John Bernthal as the Punisher, the slow pacing for that when Elektra steps in didn't work for me. Stick doesn't work for me. I think it would be better if they went on ahead and went into season 3 with it. But still, it is what it is, and I have to give this a solid 9.5 out of 10 because I just love this so much. But yeah, guys, tell me, what are some of the moments that you loved about Daredevil from watching this? Tell me in the comments below. Tell me what you guys think in the live chat. I would like to actually know what you guys think. But yeah, that's gonna be it as far as this review goes for Daredevil seasons 1 through 3. I will be doing an after show Born Again soon. So go ahead, check that out whenever I have that coming out. But yeah, thank you, Roberto, for commenting. Thank you, Jojo, for commenting as well. I do appreciate it. But yeah, comment later on. I'll answer you guys' questions. Anything that you have that you want me to answer, I'll be glad to. I'm actually on Spotify, so go on ahead and comment on any type of video, audio segment that I have over there. Give me a 5-star review. Tell me how I'm doing. Also, too, follow our friends at Unfiltered Studios. We have the Sleepy G Show. We also have We also have the Stupid History Minute. And yeah, that's gonna be it. I will be back again coming up soon. We're gonna be doing our top 5 worst endings in movies. So go ahead, check that out when we have that show coming out this week. And thank you again, guys, for joining me. And always until next time, have a great and safe night. And bye-bye.